Blog Talk Radio.
First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns and existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns and existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so, these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
You have an activated pineal gland in which that produced this black chemical called melanin.
What we did was gave a hard line in the sand between the different definitions of esoteric study and exoteric study. Playtime is over.
All around the production.
Really say this the gift and the message. My music is a weapon when I use it on the reckless. Spaceship hovering throughout the whole region. Open up the sky and take the shortcut to Venus. Getting on my level, it's a hard pill to swallow. Like comparing your religion to it if the earth is hollow. No need to cry there and let it soak in your tomorrows. Let my music soak up all your bittersweet and sorrows. See the sun shining, I lay back and kick it. Staying sucker free is my new way of living. One day we get together, then we all start building. But the ball that I dribble got me posting like Pippin. Champagne glasses around my organite pyramid. Glazing at the stars, show the kids where we really live. These solar flares got my DNA 12 stranded. Collect the kill trails and feed it to the man spraying. Wash the tall moors. Some of us we been here to reunite the others and cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in a highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men and chest a heart attack. Ever since the kid went galactic, my center bracket reached the top and interacted with my solar status. The microphone will grab it, I guess it's just a habit. A living legend in your presence, sorta like the Mavericks. It ain't about me, nah, but it's about the future. A golden race is on and dealing with the cockadoodles. I sock it to you like a grandma and your mama used to. The final stage I ride away just like it's Honolulu. I prove my old school, but since I stayed there, galactic conscious awareness, I got my grades there. See with the eye of Heru, no longer bending knees. My inner chiefs are me when it's time to leave. This modern day crap, I don't even follow it. I'd rather symbolize my name up in the hieroglyphs. Declare peace without Battlestar Galactica. Footstepping backwards on my way back to Africa. To wash the tall moors. Some of us we been here to reunite the others, to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in a highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men in chest a heart attack and wash the tall moors. Some of us we been here to reunite the others, to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in a highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men in chest a heart attack.
Back again with Dr. Alim, your host. First World Radio is in the house, no doubt. All right, I'm getting ready to bring on my co-host, Brother Fahim. Are you here, brother?
Hey, I tell you, Washington East, Washington Moors.
I tell you, Washington East. Yeah, you know we had to get that. You know we had to get that cut in.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. I know we had a little bit of dead air for a second. I don't know what was going on with that. I thought sure y'all was able to hear the music. But apologize for the technical difficulties. But we're gonna get into our topic for tonight. Of course, we're getting into psychic vampires and incubus and succubus. All right, that's what we're gonna be getting into tonight. So once again, that's psychic vampires, incubus, and succubus. They're earthly and astral manifestations. All right. For those who don't know what a psychic vampire is an individual who's in flesh
in which that has a tendency of being able to draw your life force energy from you and take it as theirs because they have leaks and holes in their auric field. So when they get around you, you actually end up healing them if you're not careful of the energy being drawn from you. After you leave them, you feel tired, nausea, have a headache or migraine or whatever the case is because energy has been drained from you. It's the same story in which the woman was issuing blood for 12 years and she touched the hem of Jesus' garment and Jesus knew automatically that energy was drawn from him. So he looked around and asked, who touched me? All right, and then when he found out it was the woman who was issuing blood for 12 years, he said, well, by your beliefs or by your works, you be healed, type of thing. So that's the same thing. Even though that was an allegory, that is actually what goes on in the conscious community or amongst those who are actually practitioners of Qigong or Tai Chi or Reiki or pranic healing or whatever the case is, or energy modalities. Anything that builds up your auric field, has an attractive or magnetic pull to others. And oftentimes you can pull individuals if your mind isn't steady and isn't vibrating at a high enough awareness, individuals who just come in order to suck from you and give nothing in return. So that is a psychic vampire in essence, all right? When you get into the word incubus, that's when we're dealing with the astral manifestations normally, even though there are incubus in the physical form, but these are what we refer to as demons in male form. That's what an incubus is. And based on, the mythology and the legendary, traditions, it says that they lie upon sleepers, especially women, in order to engage in sexual activity with them. The female counterpart is a succubus. So an incubus may pursue sexual relationship with a woman in order to drain energy. And actually, the more deterioration of energy, the more energy taken from the individual, the more deterioration of their health and even death. Right? The word incubus is actually derived from a late Latin word, which incubo, which is talking about a nightmare induced by such a demon, in which that the word incu means to lay upon or lie upon. One of the earliest mentions of incubus comes from the Mesopotamian text called the Sumerian Kings List, which dates back to like 2400 BC, where the hero Gilgamesh, his father is listed as Lilu, and it said that Lilu disturbs and seduces women in their sleep, while Lilith, where the word Lilith comes from, that's where the word Lilith comes from, is a female demon who appears to men in their erotic dreams. All right, now understand what isn't really told or talked about, except coming from these traditions, and they referring to them as demons. The word demon comes from the word demon or demos. Now, that's Latin. However, let's go back to the ancient Kemetic terminology where it really stems from in the origin of it. The word is Temon, Temon. Team is a form of the word atom or atim or atone, all right? Or atom. Now, the word on is Ra. So, Temon is actually Atum Ra or Atum Ray, all right? And that's where the origin of the word demon comes from. So, Atum is nothing more than the sun going down, beginning the sunset. That's when the sun goes down and it begins to turn dark. All right? It's the sunset of the sun. So the approaching of darkness is the term for the word demon in its origin. This is why demon comes at night, but it's talking about when the sun goes down. All right? Now, what is this actual energy in which that individual is talking about is nothing more than a perception of their own sexual energy. All right? When you was a child, between the ages of 9, going into puberty, 12, 13, 14 years old, the dreams are very vivid and oftentimes is very sexual in nature, right? For the male and the female, and in particular for the male, he will have what is called a wet dream, right? That is the Kundalini energy being overly active based on the third eye, which is the pituitary gland at that particular time, all right? The pituitary gland has taken over the function of the body because it produces HGH, which is the human growth hormone, in which that turns the boy into a man, or the woman or the girl into a woman. All right, this is what changes, what causes us to change our voice as a male, woman, what causes us to change in height, structure, our physical structure, our bone structure, our whole physical anatomy, in particular our feet, our genitalia. All these things change based on the HGH, the human growth hormone, all right, which is related to the Kundalini, all right, in which that is the upswelling energy in which that causes us to actually begin that process of growth, all right, because it's the Kundalini, which is the all-pervasive energy of the universe in which that formed our physical body into human form or into manifestation to begin with, all right? It is He, which is the mother goddess principle, or the Metu Neter, in which that formed us, all right? And the word Metu Neter, of course, just means sacred word of God, in which that the ancestors, or the natural, which is nothing more than talking about the word made flesh. The insulation and exhalation process is what causes our physical body to stay composed. When the breath leaves, we decompose. So the breath is what causes us to stay composed. The insulation and exhalation process, inhale and exhale, all right, push and pull, centrifugal and centrifugal force is what holds our physical body together. All right, so we have to understand these things. So as we begin to go through puberty, these energies are so chaotic and so erratic. Even though it has an order to it, it is almost unbearable when you go through puberty, the sexual energy and how powerful it is. And this energy in which that is being released for the final or for adulthood, which is the final manifestation. You gaining a height, you gaining, all the things in which that makes you to be a man or make you to be a woman is going on. So there's a lot of sexual energy. And so if you're a child, you're wasting a lot of this sexual energy. Oftentimes, as you go into an adult, if those energies are not recuperated, the individual can actually have all types of illnesses, such as impotency for the male or fidgety for the woman later on in life. All types of ailments can come about because in the sexual act, before it is began, the parents are supposed to teach the children that they have to open the microcosmic orbit or macrocosmic orbit, which is based on the activation of the governing vessel and the conceptional vessel, what is called also the functional vessel or channel. If these two areas are not activated, which is the from the perineum up the spinal column to the top of the head, down the face, down to the throat, the heart, down to the navel, down back to the perineum, if that area is not open and activated, which is called, once again, the conceptional and the governing vessel or channels, then this seeds can be lodged within organs or endocrine glands, in which that creates hormonal disbalance and cause energy levels to be depleted or stagnated energy. Blockages can occur. All right? And so even before sex begins between as you reach adulthood and you become a teenager, all right, you have the capability of having sex. However, you don't have the responsibility of having sex, because the parents are supposed to teach the children that sex is based on merging. The word sex itself actually is marriage, essentially, which means to merge. The word sex is union between two gametes, in particular male and female, man and woman. Well, the word marriage stems from the word or the root merge, and merge means union also. Okay, so sex is marriage, and that is also what needs to be taught to the children, as they begin to understand about their bodies and become more interested in the opposite sex. Right, these things have to be told to them. Right, they have to be told about the astral plane, that before they go to sleep. This is the reason why there's a prayer, and also the garment of white light around them before they go to sleep, so they can repel any type of negativity on the astral plane, which is the dream world, when they go to at night and they go to sleep and close their eyes, in order to protect them from any type of demonic or being or spirit in which that does not mean them any good. All right? This is something in which that also has to be taught. Right? So these are just some of the things. All right? Brother L, you want to build on anything that I talked about?
Yes. I was thinking about the talking about the sexual energy. Yeah. Can you elaborate on some about? Okay, I know you've heard about Will Chamberlain supposed to have these many women for his lifetime. Is that the reason why he's not living today?
That is said based on the Taoism or the Taoist teachings. It's stated that if you're having sex in those areas, if you do not do the meditations in order to activate the particular areas that I spoke, the conceptual and the governing vessels or channels, then yes, that can actually cause a problem, like I was talking about later on in life, in which that he basically did too much sexual activity, and that depleted his life force.
Okay.
All right. When studying the science of Tantra, or what is called Tao sexology, you have to understand that there's a way in which that you can actually ejaculate. All right. There's two areas on the body in which that can prevent that. It's about an inch down from the right nipple if the woman pressed there, as well as also in between the scrotum sac and the anus area of the male. There's like an indenture called a perineum, or the $1 million spot. By pressing one or either of those two places can stop the man from ejaculating externally and ejaculate internally, causing the pulsation of the sacral bone, all right, which is the Kundalini energy, and the 8 blaster pores, in which that form the physical body into existence, to vibrate upwards. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this upward energy travels up towards the head, in which that creates a pulsation, a sensation in the head, and actually, because it's going through the nervous system, which is actually the spinal column, you have the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. It is, and these nerves are attached to all the organs and is attached to all the endocrine glands in the body. So the body is being revitalized in that process. Now, another part of that is learning how to do that microcosmic orbit to keep that energy flowing to rejuvenate the bodily system. Now, in Tantra, particularly, after you do several rotations, it can be 9, 18, 27 to 108 rotations of this microcosmic orbit. Then you can ejaculate outwards, right? Because now you have kept the energy inwards and have circulated it in order to promote revitalization, regeneration, so forth and so on. So these are the two different techniques, Tantra and Tao sexology, in which that can be practiced, in which that if Will Chamberlain understood that, he could have regenerated his body instead of, passing form, at the age in which that he had.
Right.
And this is right, and this is also good for brothers who have prostate issues. Saw pimento is one of the best herbs for that. Maca root, red clover, ginseng, guadacola, ginkgo biloba, licorice.
Like candy licorice?
Well, yes. In particular, this the herb though, but yes, that's what the original black licorice was actually made from, was from this particular herb.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Iris sea moss. So there's various herbs, bladderwrack, various herbs in which that can help with the endocrine gland hormonal balance, in particular of the prostate. All right. So also during the day exercises, what is called the Kegel exercises for the women, in which that you just simply pull up your anal and perineal muscles. Just pull them up like you're exercising them, and you can do that 100 to 300 times a day.
What is Kegel?
Right, Kegel exercises. That's for the woman. That's what it's named. But
okay.
in Taoism, it's called the day exercise, in which that you pull up your anal muscles and your perineum. You just work it and pull them up. And you pull them up and release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, and you do that 100 to 300 times a day. And that helps with swollen prostates, and it helps to get the prostate gland back up to par, to 100% function, as well as also it helps the woman with her uterus, the building and the strengthening of her uterus when she do these exercises. The woman, because she have an inside, an inner canal, she can actually use what is called a jaded egg, in which that is like a marble or ceramic type of egg, in which that can be inserted inside of the vaginal canal, and she can actually move that egg, up and down the canal, in which that would strengthen her cervix as well as her vaginal canal and her uterus. Right? A woman isn't supposed to be bleeding 7 days when her menstruals come on. Matter of fact, it is said that possibly that she would just simply spot, and then that be it. All right. Of course, moving more towards a vegetarian or vegan or fruitarian type of diet can also promote that.
Right.
So the herbs for the woman is Don Quai, red clover, maca root. You can also use corny goat weed, as well as also licorice, ginger. All these herbs can be used. All right. So this is the major components of when you come into play with these entities or these individuals. All right, is that they still energy. So it behooves us in order to learn the science of how to gather energy, so that we can rejuvenate ourselves. We've spoken about before that there's 3 areas that you can store this electromagnetic energy, what is called prana or chi or ki energy, in the body. When you inhale, you pull the energy down into your navel or right below your navel chakra area, into what is called the sperm palace or the ovarian palace for the woman, which is about 3 inches down below the navel. But you can actually pull it in at the navel and expand it down into that area. Because the umbilical cord was attached to the navel. That's how you receive your nutrients from your mother, was through that cord. Well, just because it was cut, don't mean that you no longer have the ability of being able to store the nutrients there. Now is etheric nutrients, right? So the same way that you had umbilical cord, the Bible in Ecclesiastes speaks about that you also have a silver cord or etheric cord, right? And it's anchored down in that area in the lower dantian. Right? You have the mid dantian, which is at the heart. You have the upper dantian, which is called by Christians the upper room in the book of John and the Acts, in which that Jesus came to the disciples in the upper room and he breathed on them and they received the Holy Spirit. Well, that's referring to the upper room is the pineal gland area where the pituitary gland shoots some white light onto the pineal gland in order to awaken it and brighten up that third cavern referred to as the cave of Brahma. It also was the cave in which that Jesus was born in, which is called the manger, in which that area lights up, and you actually see a white light when you close your eyes in the center of your brain, which is in the third ventricle when it lights up. And this is what the yogi masters look for in order to show that they have become enlightened. Right. Even further than that is the emittance of the Kundalini when it strikes the pineal gland. The pineal gland, because it has 144,000 magnetic light crystal lenses that sits around it, and around it is 12 pericranial nerves. 12 times 2 is 24. So here's the 24 elders that sit around the throne of God, worship God day and night, saying hallelujah, amen. And so when that area becomes illuminated, you as a holy person, holy man, holy woman will begin to emit a golden whitish aura or halo around the head called halat in Arabic, in Hebrew, halat or halo, right? In which that comes from the word of haru. The L and the R are interchangeable in the Kemetic language. Any word in which that is derived from the Kemetic tongue, they use the word or use the letter R, it can be transferred to L and vice versa. Or it's an exchange. Right? So, halo is actually the word haru, which is hero, where the word hero stems from. So, at this point of enlightenment, when you develop that golden whitish light around your head, you become a hero, right? Or in the Catholicism is referred to as a saint. All right, so these are just some of the clues that you have to understand. All right, and like what we were talking about with like a succubus is a female demon or supernatural entity in folklore that appears in dreams and take a form of a woman in order to seduce men, usually through the sexual activity. So the male counterpart, like I said, is the incubus. However, religious tradition holds that repeated sexual activity with a succubus may also, once again, deteriorate the health or even death. All right, so it says a succubus may or may not appear in dreams or is often depicted as a highly attractive seductress or enchantress. Whereas some have even seen, or have been depicted as frightening or demonic in this appearance, right? But once again, these are just the spirits, and the spirits are being being derived from your own mentality through your Kundalini. The Kundalini is trying to convey to you the science of sex, and you're taking it based on your infantile mentality. You're taking it as being something in which that is dangerous. Because we've been taught to look at sex as something that was nasty. We've been taught to look at sex as something as if it's dirty. Right. So since that's the case, then that is what you will perceive. It says what the mind believes. It says what you believe. That's what the mind will conceive, and eventually that's what will happen. Because the mind is the manifestator. The mind is the magic wand. And if you don't master the science of the breath is what actually acts as the mediator between the physical body and the intangible mind. All right? That's what controls both, is the breath. The breath is that mediator. So when Jesus said, and once again, I'm using these Bible verses because this is the first school of thought for many of us. We came through Christianity. I'm just simply trying to put this shit in proper perspective so that y'all won't miss the point. But when Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one can come to the Father but by me, he's just saying basically he's the mediator. No coincidence that his name is Yahshua in Aramaic and Hebrew. And you see the word Shu is ancient Kemetic, and Shu was the first begotten son of Atum. It was the air personified, or the personification of air. Jesus is called, in the book of John, the Word made flesh. The Word was God, the Word was with God, and the Word was made flesh. All right? So, Jesus was not talking about a so-called pale man or a so-called black man from 2,000 years ago. He was talking about the breath of life, in which that is inside each and every one of us, and how we can actually utilize that breath to reach the God within, which is the soul that is half asleep in the pineal gland. All right? The soul symbolizes Saw. The breath symbolizes Shu, which is also a form of Heru. All right? And the Kundalini is Set. So when you read the Egyptian tales or the Sumerian mythology about Set, going to look for Saw, and she went into 7 caves, just like Ishtar was looking for her mate when she went into 7 caves. This story is told over and over again, whether it's in the Kemetic philosophy or whether it's in the Sumerian traditions. Those 7 caves symbolize the 7 chakras. Same 7 zones that is mentioned as the 7 eyes of Allah, 7 Elohims, the 7 plagues, the 7 thunders, the 7 candlesticks, the 7 flames, the 7 stars, the 7 churches. All of these things are mentioned 24 times in the book of Revelation. All right, so this is really what we need to be teaching our children so they can have a greater understanding and appreciation of their human anatomy and their spiritual essence. As long as the two are being separated and being taught at an infantile level, we're going to continue having immature people on this planet, infantile-minded people on this planet. Yeah. We're never going to really reach the state of enlightenment that we need to. Right now, we're supposed to be becoming Homos Christos, which means a beta human, as they would say, above human. Right? We're supposed to be moving away from Homo sapiens sapien into becoming Homos Christos, the same as Christ. So everything that you read about Christ, you're supposed to be able to be doing greater things, based on the fact that even Jesus said that greater things he would do. So we're talking about 1 Corinthians 12, which speaks about the gift of miracles, the gift of healing, the gift of speaking in tongues, the gift of interpreting tongues, the gift of wisdom, the gift of knowledge, the gift of faith, the gift of healing. All these things are talked about in 1 Corinthians 12 chapter. Right? So, gift of miracles. All these things is mentioned. These are called the 9 fruits of Christ. All right? And you're supposed to be having your share of all of these gifts and much more. All right? So, reserving or conserving your sexual energy for a certain time and learning how to open these channels and master these forces is what will help you activate these particular gifts. But as long as you are swallowing your sexual energy just haphazardly and it's just doing it any and everywhere, then you're going to have a problem. All right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to have a problem. you'll end up with prostate issues or kidney issues, because the kidneys is the water element. There's going to be problems in which that takes place, especially if you don't know how to, once again, to rejuvenate yourself, and you're not practicing any of these arts. You're not practicing Qigong or Tai Chi. Essentially you're going to be messed up. So this is what's really going on. All right. So when you look at the Latin word succubus, which means to lie under or to lie in bed, this word is used to describe the supernatural being as well. And the word actually goes back to 1387. When you go and do the research on it. And of course we know about according to the Zohar, and the alphabet of Ben Sirah, Lilith was Adam's first wife, who later became a succubus. She left Adam and refused to return to the Garden of Eden after she made it with the archangel Samael. And now this is all in the Zohar. In the Zoharic Kabbalah, there was 4 succubi who made it with the archangel Samael. These were the 4 original queens of the demons. Lilith was the first. You had Mahalath, the Agrat, Malat, and Nama. So succubus may take a form of a beautiful young girl, but closer inspection reveals deformities within the body, such as bird-like claws or serpentine tails. All this is, once again, symbolic. It's the Kundalini. All right? It's the Kundalini. Whenever you hear about a bird, it's talking about the ascension of the Kundalini, which is a serpentine fire. But this is all them trying to get you to understand. They had to give you a story form. They had to give you some type of illustration, especially as a child, in order to explain these stories to you. Not for you to be 90 years old and still think of it in the exact same way that you did as in kindergarten. There's no way possible. Okay? There's no way possible. Matter of fact, Lilith got upset at Adam because Adam wanted to have missionary with her, and he wanted to be on top. And Lilith was like, no, I'm not going to let you be on top. So allegedly, she got upset about that and fled out the garden. So then God had to give him a new mate by the name of Eve. All right, so this is all these particular sayings. Now, if you go to the Kabbalah, the original 3 goddesses, or demons, as they would say, was Arakbat, Malat, Nama, and Esther, Zunanu, what is called Zunu Ning, right? And it says all their cohorts gave birth to children except Lilith. Right? According to the other legends, the children of Lilith are called Leland. All right, so these tales is told in different Jewish books of lore, Kabbalistic texts. And we know that the Kabbalahs, if you get E.A. Wake's book, The Holy Kabbalah, around page 20 or so, he tells you that the Moors are the originators of the Kabbalistic teachings.
What book was that?
E.A. Wake.
Okay.
Right, A.E. Wakes. Excuse me, A.E. Wakes. Right, A.E. Wakes.
Okay.
W-A-I-T-E, the Holy Kabbalah.
Okay.
Right, and he tells you that the Kabbalistic teachings came from the Moors, and that actually it was in the libraries throughout Europe, in particular in Spain. And then after the Moors left the last stronghold in Granada, Spain, these Jews came in and different other ones came in and took possession of these particular teachings and begin to start saying as if they themselves was the originators of it. Okay. Brunel, you got anything you want to?
I was saying it's so. I haven't really got into the Bible yet. It's dealing with sexual energy and breathing, how it relates to proper breathing, how it relates to sexual energy, things like that. But I find it amazing how the Bible is filled with that. I'm always amazed at that, because I never read the Bible in that form, or fashion. And the way you break it down to me, and it all makes sense.
Right. If you get the Catholic Bible, in particular, they have several more chapters in their Bible than the King James Version. King James Version only has 66 books, while the Catholic Bible have 73. And they also go to the Old Testament. They have a story in Genesis about Onan, O-N-A-N, and how he's supposed to have had the wife of his brother, and he's supposed to have impregnated her so that the genes of that family can carry on. He didn't want to do that, so what he did was spill his seed, which is his semen, upon the ground, and God struck him dead because of that, because he wasted his seed.
Okay.
That is a story. That is a story in which that is relating to what we just finished talking about learning how to do what is called ejaculation as compared to ejaculation.
Right, conserving your energy, sexual energy. Right.
If you go and get the Gnostic texts or scripts, the Gnostics tell you that they used to mix their semen with wine and drink. Because
they symbolic of spirit. Okay.
Right. So they felt that if you wasted it, then that was punishable, by even death, based on that story.
So that relates that you can relate that to the Will Chamberlain, then
Right.
He wasted his seed so much, and he gave away a lot of his life force energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see, the difference is because there's a brother by the name of Lee Young Chun, and he lived to be 256 years old, but he had 24 wives. So over those years of living, he was able to conserve his energy and his life force. Even though he had 24 wives, he had to have had sexual connections with them.
Right.
So he had sex, but the fact is that he practiced qigong and tai chi. That's the difference. He was able to regenerate himself after the sexual encounter.
Right. He never did really ejaculate.
Right. And there's a rule, Li Cheng Yuan, and there was a rule in which that they speak of within Taoism, in which that is based on your age. So if you're 20 years old, it would be times 0.2. So every 4 days, a 20-year-old can ejaculate. 30 years old, every 6 days, a 30-year-old can ejaculate. 40 years old, every 8 days can ejaculate. 50 years old, every 8 days can ejaculate. 50 years old, every 10 days to ejaculate. Right? 60 years old, every 12 days to ejaculate. So, based on that, if you was able to go by those days, then your sperm would be able to regenerate. Actually, between 48 to 72 hours, you can actually rejuvenate yourself, or the sperm, the blood. Because what they say is that it takes 40 to 80 drops of blood to form 1 drop of sperm. or semen, I should say. Right. So once again, it takes 40 to 80 drops based on the conditioning, but normally it's about 40 drops of blood to form just one. That's how concentrated the semen is. Dr. Stephen Chang, he states within the Tao of Sexology book that is the nutrients in it is two New York House Porter steaks, 6 oranges, 8 eggs, 2 lemons, 2 cups of milk. You know, that's just some of the nutrients that you lose from the ejaculation. That's the amount of food, you know, and normally a person can't eat that much in one setting. But that's how much of that concentration of everything is within just that tablespoon of semen.
That's a lot of nutrients. But just a tablespoon of semen, you know, that man.
Right. Exactly. Right. So that's how potent it is, and that's how potent it is, or concentrated it is, in order to produce life or produce another individual into life. Right. So we're talking about several meals in which that you're losing in just one ejaculation. And based on the foods that they've been giving us now, GMO food, our sperm count has dwindled from 700 million to less than 300 million now.
They're dealing with all those genetic, what you call it, generic foods. Artificial this, artificial that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Boy.
All right, I'm gonna play a song right quick. It's called The Transition, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna go to the phone line. So those that want to call in, 626-414-3535. That's 626-414-3535. You want to call in? Raise your hand when you call in, and we'll get the questions or your comment. All right. Let's get to the song. This is by my man Rodnetta El-Bey, A Tradition.
I don't need to be a dope boy, my poetry is dope enough. Trapping interstellar while my third eye open up. See through all the lies that y'all tell it with a straight face. Return of the luminous ones. Y'all better make way to find a chapter. Find a collapse on all you politicians. They politicking how to lead a world, no pot to piss in. The way I think is more deep and in the Grand Canyon. I guarantee this black man would be the man standing. My premonition matched the OMAC calendar. It's always accurate like a lightweight challenger. For all you wicked riches and the Wizard of Oz, you and that man behind the curtain, yeah, y'all fixing to fall. Only a matter of time before shit hits the fan. Here's an idiot's guide for you on how to get a man. I don't need a bunch of homers to ride or die with me. I can call on Hey Roo to fly the skies with me. Going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth. When I'm riding on this city streets, never really miss a beat. To the point of no return, unless I turn another cheek. Catch me on my daily vibe, smooth as I wanna be. Just being me, never chilling with the wannabes. God in the flesh, dated bad sister lectures. Because my history is more than they can understand it. My melanated skin, star brush from the astro. I'm made of dark energy created from black holes. Know thyself, the only one you can lean on. I got some Succubus that y'all can break y'all weed on. Our hair is Martin Luther King and slave ships. But what about the underwater cities and spaceships? My mystical mind, we had the government covering. But if the OMAD will fly away like a mothership, we're African people, we're the real Anunnaki, wearing feathers on their heads just to prove feet taller than me. Through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. Yo, don't look at me the same, I ain't nothing like I used to be. Upgraded daily through the lies and all the foolery. My dream became lucid, I travel back in time, collecting life data for my subconscious mind. That Father let me know that anything is possible by pulling down the universe through my crown chakra. Manipulate the energy is all an illusion. Knowing who you are kills all the confusion. Why 85% judge off my appearance? I use alchemy to create the world potential. My lyrics turn divas right back at the queens. Why dope boys are think twice appearing back on the scene. Everybody gone mad, blaming media outlet. The new Black Hollywood chosen straight out the project. Homo and gender war sucking up to the master. While the whole community going up in disaster. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth.
All right, we back. First Order Radio, your host, Dr. El-Bey, co-host, Brother Fahim. We got call on the line, 313, area code 313, you on the air.
Yes, peace and greetings.
Peace.
Peace, Brother Alim. Greetings.
Peace, how you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm fairly new to kind of all of this, being enlightening in the conscious community. And I have heard some of your teachings, and as well as Brother Master Bobby Hennett. And I had a question for you, brother, about demons, because through Master Bobby, I did hear that demons was something like carbon, which is our melon. Is that the same as what you're teaching on about when you talk about the succubus and the Is that the same?
Somewhat. Venus has a play on that because Venus is the planet of love. So if you check with the Moors, that 5-pointed star on the flag is symbolic, which is a green star, is symbolic to Venus. It's the bright and morning star. Venus is the planet that comes up before the sun does in the horizon. So does Sirius. They both are bright and morning stars, but in particular, Venus is the brighter object in the sky, and next would be Sirius B, and then, of course, the North Star, which is Polaris. Those three are the brightest objects in the sky, but in particular, Venus is the brightest object, even though it's called the bright and morning star. Of course, we know it's not a star. It's a planet, and it's the closest planet to us in that regard, and Venus is like, very close to the size of the planet Earth, except it's closer to the sun. It's the second planet from the sun. All right. Of course, then before you have Mercury, and then of course the sun. But the thing is that Venus symbolizes that aspect. When you look at various mythology, like the Greek mythology, you have Aphrodite. She is symbolic to Venus, which is the goddess of love. Right? Right. You have the ancient Kemetic teachings in which that you have Auset. She's an aspect of that star. In her, what is called Auset Mary. Mary would be Venus. All right? This is why Mary. This is why the name Mary becomes the name used for Jesus and his wife Mary Magdalene in the New Testament, but they was aspects of love. Friday. The word Friday is derived from the Latin word Freya or Phrygia, as well as also Frey, which the planet Venus symbolizes Friday. This is what they say, that man was born on Friday. Within the beliefs of the monotheistic belief system of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. So yes, in that regard. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I have another question, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. As far as the succubus, that's pertaining to the woman then taking her energy sexually.
Right.
My question is, right. My question is, how do you know if how can you tell if it's a succubus or a god or a deity that's coming to bring you energy? Because I believe I experienced this, that I didn't feel drained, like my energy was taken. I don't know how to say it, but it felt like to me it was the best sex ever. Like, to me, I had an orgasm. I never had it with a male in the human flesh. It's not to be, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's like, I want you to come and visit again. So, like, I don't know how to say it because it's the best sex ever. I know. So how do I know if it's come to do me harm and suck my energy or bring it, or is this a sexual, spiritual event I'm supposed to be engaged in? How can I tell the difference?
Oftentimes based on the frequency. In other words, if it's something in which that is done repetitively over and over and over again, and you do begin to start feeling drained, then of course you know that is an incubus, which is the male species or spirit to that. For the male is a succubus, which is a female so-called demon. But once again, these are just names being utilized. The abuse of it comes from the repeated, when it's repeated, and then you begin to start feeling, changes such as negative changes. You becoming irritable. You becoming forgetful. Feeling drained and fatigued. Then you know that spirit is doing nothing but taking energy. Now, if it's a Orisha, which is one of the 7 African powers, which is symbolic also to your chakras, which is once again Kundalini, and the way in which that she manifests herself to you, then it would give energy. It would give growth. You would feel empowered. You would have an orgasm. You would feel all these things, because it is coming with the right intention and, in order to promote health and healing, and that's really what you want.
Okay, now that must be a deity because I feel like so energetic, weight is coming off, and it's like I feel like Superwoman. Then I know the crown of my head is constantly itching, and somebody say my crown is opening. It's like constantly itching. I don't have dandruff, and it's like I always got to put condition in my scalp and the crown. They say that's opening up, and that's always itching.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's true.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, brother. I'm not gonna hold you up, but yes, I feel really enlightened and clarity. I love this. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate you, Goddess.
Okay.
All right, we got area code 402. Area code 402. You on the line?
Thanks for taking my call. Thank you for taking my call very much. I was listening to what you guys were saying, and I was listening to the title. I was reading the title of what you were talking about and what I wanted to know. But then I heard your voice, and I realized that I was listening to another radio show this morning, and I wanted to say, this is my question. Why is it when you love a broken person, like a broken man, that they can't commit? What is the deal with that? And I think you know the answer.
Right. It's intimacy issues.
When you know that, when you know what you bring to the table, that you know that you only bring the good love, and that person denies that. As a woman, the self-worth drops, but you keep on going back. So, in one way, that's an energy drain. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's true too. Right. Well, that's when we get into the fact that we talking about these individuals too, not just spirits, but spirits who incarnate in flesh, in which that has the same tendencies. Oftentimes, like you said, broken because they have leaks and holes in their auric field, and so in order to try to be healed, they'll get with someone who is healthy and who has a holistic type of ether or aura field. You know, it's cleansed, it's bright, it's energetic. And so they like being around that individual because it helps bring clarity and bring health, you know, to them. But in the process, you know, they're taking and thieving energy from the individual at the same time, you know, and if the individual feel cool with that and they can recoup and regenerate themselves, then, you know, then they can get that individual up to where they themselves can, you know, function on their own. But if it's just a constant take and take and take and take, and there's nothing in which that is being recuperated, you know, on the other end, then yeah, it's time to move on and you know, let it go.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we got area code 614. Area code 614. You on the line?
Greetings, Alim. How you doing?
Peace.
And Brother L. How you guys?
Peace. Fine, sister. How you doing?
Peace.
I'm all right. I'm Irie. I am calling about masturbation and pornography in masturbation. And what are your views or your outlook on that when it comes to cultivating that energy when you don't have a special someone that you trust and want to get involved like that with? What are your views?
No, what it is that masturbation can be utilized, as a matter of fact. Different books by my grandmaster teacher, Sunyata Fitz. In the book, he speaks about that you can actually use masturbation in order to open and activate the microcosmic orbit. So if you get to about 90-some-odd% of the point of when you get ready to ejaculate or orgasm, you would stop, roll your eyes up to the top of your head like you're looking up towards the sky, and pull the energy up from the perineum up to the top of the head and then back down the front as you exhale and circulate that energy in that microcosmic orbit. As you inhale, it up the spine. As you exhale, down the spine, down the front of the channel of the body, up the spine, down the front, up the spine, down the front, and just circulate that energy over and over again. And then afterwards, you will, as a woman, you will take your right hand and circulate around the tummy area, which is the navel, in a circular motion in a counterclockwise position 36 times, and then the left hand in a clockwise position 24 times, and vice versa for the male. The male would do the left hand in a clockwise position, and then counterclockwise position, so forth and so on. So after you do that, what you have done is condense the energy into your dantian in order to promote longevity. You're storing the energy there, so that promotes longevity when it's done at the lower dantian, which is at the navel chakra. When it's done at the heart, it promotes compassion, love, mercy, right? When it's done at the third eye, it promotes unconditional love, a high IQ, and intelligent, an inventive mind. All right, that's what it does. All right, so those are the secrets.
Okay, so you said if you do for a woman it's 36 with the right hand,
right,
counterclockwise.
Right, counterclockwise.
And that you could do it in the dantian, solar plexus, dantian, or third eye. You could do that motion in one of those areas at any given at that point.
Yes, you can do that on those areas, whether it's at the heart or third eye. The same technique, as well as storing it or you can just simply store it at the lower dantian and utilize that energy to regenerate and revitalize and rejuvenate yourself.
Okay,
right?
so
It's like
36.
Right. Let me explain. Your melanin is a battery. That's what your melanin is. Melanin is able to receive an electrical charge or a charge up at any given time. But the fact that we're in a third-dimensional apparent reality, or what we call an illusion or matrix, what happens is that oftentimes we don't reach the level of where melanin can go beyond the energy gap that it has. In the third dimension, based on Dr. Timothy Owen Moore, in his book, The Science of Melanin, he states that in the third dimension, melanin has an energy gap. However, in the fourth dimension, which is ultraviolet light or ultraviolet frequency, UHF, melanin now becomes a superconductor. How do you transform a third-dimensional thought into a fourth-dimensional thought? Well, simply, you raise your vibration. You raise your thoughts. You promote positive thoughts. And so as you promote these more positive thoughts, you increase the frequency and the vibratory levels of the physical body. Right? And so now your melanin becomes a superconductor. So now you're able to absorb all the frequencies of the visible spectrum and also of the spectrum band, whether it's TV, radio waves, whether it's infrared, microwave, X-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays. You're able to absorb all of these energies and utilize them, in your body and store them in your body to promote longevity and health and all other good things that you want. All right. So yes, the key is for the woman, you will rub the tummy 36 times, counterclockwise, right. 24 times, right? 24 times, clockwise with the left hand. 36 times with the right. Right. So
okay, and you said it's a microcosmic orbit. So you said for women and men, you envision it going out down the front.
Right. Now that's for the men. Let me say this. All right. The woman can also do it in another way, right? Which Mantak Chia does not teach, but my teacher taught us that the woman can also do it another way. Mantak Chia was teaching everybody the same way. That's not correct. The woman can also do the reverse of that. She would store the energy at her navel and then pull the energy up the front channel, up to the top of the head, and then down the back as she exhales to the perineum. As she breathes in, up the front, down the back to the perineum, up the front. Now the perineum is in between the anus and the vagina, but it also correlates to the G spot, which is about 1.5 to 3 inches inside of the woman's vaginal area. All right. So she would do her microcosmic orbit coming up the front channel and down the back if she wants to. That is the best way for the woman. For the man, it is up the back of the spine, down the front. And so when they come together, they promote the symbol in which that you have seen all over the Orient and even here in the Americas of what is called the yin and the yang.
Yeah. All right. And pornography, like visual stimulation. What's your views on that? Using that or engaging in that?
I got plenty of videos on that. I got ancient healing. I got ancient sexual healing. I have holy orgasm. I have cultivating the male and female sexual energy. I have the quest. I have the sexual energy and the quest for the Holy Spirit. So those are the 4 particular ones that I have. You can go to the website www.dralim.el-bey.com and go to the DVD section, and we have all this information right there.
Okay. And are you coming to Columbus, Ohio anytime soon?
We're supposed to be coming up there in April. So cross your fingers, and hopefully we can.
I gotcha. Can't wait to see it if that does come to pass.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Peace.
All right. Appreciate you. Peace.
All right. We got area code 410. Area code 410. You on the line?
Peace, brother. Brother L,
Peace.
Dr. Alim.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Appreciating the show tonight. Informing as usual. I'm glad you cleared up that what you just got off the phone with the sister about Manatog Chia. You said he pretty much gave a cookie cutter version for everybody to do, male and female.
Right.
But I was wondering about when you was doing the microcosmic orbit. Was your visualization skills strong, from prior practice? Because, sometimes it helps with the visualization to kind of strengthen the experience. So I was just curious about that part.
Right. Well, see, I've been learning Qigong for almost 25 years now. So when we talking about, before, that was my first experience almost 25 years ago was actually, doing Qigong. So in Qigong, that is one of the first practices that we learned how to do was the microcosmic orbit technique. Because those channels have to be open so that there won't be any sexual blockage, so that it won't manifest as an STD, as a urinary bladder infection, or whatever the case is. So as long as that energy is flowing, guess what? There can be no STD. Right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because you hit
all these things manifest. Right? All these things manifest because there's blockages in the energy levels, in particular at the upswelling of energy, which is in the genitalia area, or the root, or sacral chakras. But go ahead, brother.
Oh no. You just hit it on the mark. Because I had an idea about the. I forgot who it was. One of the master teachers, but they was mentioning about the Kundalini you mentioned earlier on the show. The Kundalini being too revved up for a lot of our brothers and sisters. But a lot of them had a potentialities there, but that Kundalini get wrapped up in other wayward experiences, I should say, and then next thing they get wrapped up in the wrong wayward practices.
Right. Well, the sexual energy is powerful, bro. I mean, it's able to transform you from male to female, from boy to man, and a girl to a woman, so you got to understand. So we've got to understand how important that is, and how powerful that is. It's able to cause a whole transformation, shoot. I know brothers who grew like 6 inches over a damn summer. So think about how much damn sexual energy that was to do that.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Their voice done got deeper, everything over just a summer. I seen this happen growing up. Once, dude shorter than me come back, dude like 2-3 inches taller than me. I'm like, yo, what happened?
He got some staples in his knee.
So I mean that's a very powerful sexual, so if you learn how to harness that power, not only is it humanly transformative, it just don't change the body. Just think about what it can do spiritually.
Yeah, and when the I didn't forget about y'all, man, for the retreat y'all had in November. Some stuff popped up, but when the next time y'all having
it's March 20th, 21st, and 22nd next month. our melanin conference, which we will be learning the science of melanin, how to enhance it, the herbs to utilize, the herbs for the chakras, the crystals for the chakras, as well as Kundalini activation, initiation to the indigenous cosmic golden ray order Melchizedek. We will learn Qigong, Tai Chi, Reiki, pranic healing, acupressure, reflexology, herbalism. So you will learn the science behind all the herbs, what they do, well, at least the vast majority of them. And so, I mean, this is what we're going to be teaching for 3 days. So for those who's interested, March 20th, 21st, and 22nd, come on out. The number is 910-364-9099. That's 910-364-9099. We're going to be kicking it. You know what I'm saying? 3 days straight science. And also we're going to be going over some of this information here, which is Tantra on Kriya Yoga, you know, Kundalini Yoga. So, you know, definitely.
Okay, then. Oh yeah. And one more thing. I meant to mention it last week. I can't stand when I forget something. Brother L mentioned a poignant point about, I mean, not to go off momentum, but the UCC originally being, Uniform Commercial Code, usually being the laws of the Moors, and he had a good point. You got a good point, Brother L, about.
Oh, thank you, Moors. Thank you, brother.
You talking about how some Moors, they will damn near karate chop you, tiger claw you if you talk about UCC. You know, we can't use that. Et cetera. You know, it was our.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Well, they don't know where the UCCs came from. You know, where they originated, whom they originated with. You know, like I said, we are the navigators of the high seas. You know, and the law of water. You know, and that's where the European that took over that, like they took over everything else, holidays and everything else that we had. So yeah.
Well, that's because then water symbolizes the waters of life in which that you emerge from, which is called the amniotic fluids. When the child comes to shore, and you have to have a docket number, hence the doctor comes to give it the number. The water breaks, and the child is moored or anchored. You know, moored. You get it? So, and then. Yeah, so I mean, it's all connected. You know, they redoing what happens naturally in birth, and they redoing it by way of documentation and paperwork. So if you don't understand the birthing process, so how can you possibly understand how to get yourself out from the documentation or paperwork in which that they have actually done to us? You know, because it's based on the life aspects and how to turn that life, which is a natural person, into an artificial person.
Right. It's so much that we in the computer age, so we replace our GPSs with our navigation or navigation or whatever you want to call it. Navigation of the sea, or you get, like you said, the amniotic fluid we get chopped from our mother's umbilical cord, from the nav-L, or the L's of the C's. But yeah, all good stuff. Appreciate the info tonight, brothers, and I just go back on mute. Appreciate.
All right, appreciate you more.
Brother L, what you think?
Yes, you had a good point there when you said about the law of water. When you get reach land, you mooring more into onto the land. You know, that shows that moor is also not only connected to the land, but is also you can say a maritime term as well.
Right.
You know, like mooring and more. It shows how deep we were involved and on this planet. You know, how we invented and created things. You know, long before the Albion came into existence, even. You know, so it shows that we are a great people. You know, We don't take things or copy things off of others. We create what is our own, because that's who we are. We are creative and inventive.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. So, it also shows that it is true when we say we are the original, the aboriginal indigenous people of the earth, of this planet Earth, which at one time was called Asia. Asia, or we call Asiatics, meaning lords of the earth. Commander of the earth. And I just be always energetic when I'm dealing with the Moorish Divine National Movement, being part of this, that I'm being part of trying to make a change for the future for our children and their children and for their grandchildren and on and on,
Indeed, bro.
Yeah.
All right, we got another quote for the L.
Okay.
All right, we got area code 214. Area code 214, you on the line.
Hey, what's going on? Peace, y'all. How y'all doing?
Peace, God.
Peace.
Hey, I came in late, so I don't really know the original topic tonight, but I kind of wanted to ask you about Kabbalah and Gematria. That ain't too left field from the topic, is it?
No, we talked about the Kabbalah tonight. Go ahead.
No.
All right. Well, I'm trying to, I've been studying it for a few months, and I'm trying to, get a better understanding of it. And I was reading about Stan Lee, who made X-Men, how he based Magneto and Professor X off of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So, so I was doing started doing the Gematria on the numerology on it, and Malcolm X equals 30, and so does Magneto. And then you do Professor X with, I believe it was MLK Jr., and they equal, I can't remember what it is. I got it written down at home. I'm at work right now. But, basically, they always equal in the same thing. It was two different ways with Professor X and Martin Luther King, but it was the one way with Magneto and Malcolm X. So, like, I was trying to get an understanding of how they use that against us, so when I, pass this message along to the people, I can show them practical ways in which we can use it to empower us.
Right, well, they do spells or rituals in order to correlate to the Gematria. Understand that when you do numerals or when you're writing something out, that's spelling. That's you casting a spell. So once you have that down pat of what you want to correlate to, like for example, when you look up and get Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, look up 30 and see what else it relates to besides for just Magneto and Malcolm X. Look and see what else it correlates to.
I can't. I like I said, I have it at home, but I know one of them was like the tribe of Judah was one thing that it related to with Malcolm, and that kind of stood out to me.
Well, remember the symbol of the tribe of Judah was a lion, and Judah itself was the fourth son of Israel or Jacob. All right, and the tribe of Judah was one of the surviving tribes after God in the Old Testament, the Book of Kings, cast out 10 tribes out of his sight. Judah was one of the tribes that survived, along with Benjamin and a mixture of Dan. So once you start correlating these things, you will see what's really going on. Part of the spell is detailed in finding out. Right. Part of the spell is detailed and find out what the other correlations are to the numeral 30.
Okay. And,
now, remember,
and the other number too, because
let me explain. Check this out. In order to produce magic, you must have three sides. There must be a triangle. So 3 symbolizes that triangle, which is in order to manifest something, it must have 3 sides. It must produce that triangle. That actually is the manifestator, is the 3 angles. So 30 symbolizes those 3 angles, or to bring a thing into existence, as in the 3 trimester periods of birth. You got the first trimester, the second trimester, the third trimester. Each one is equal to 3 months. Going into what? The 10th month. Okay? So 3 times 10 is 30. This is symbolic also the stage darkness. So these things are shown, these things are shown, saying once again how they are trying to manifest some things. And of course, in order for them to make them and transform them into pale characters, Albion characters, a Charles Xavier or a Magneto, from 2 melanated, brothers who was the most active during that time in the 60s, they had to produce that magic in order to create that same sensationalism in which that they was using in this world to take it into their world, which was the comic book world.
And that's how they use our emotions against us, in a sense.
Right. They was able to transform that triple stage darkness into, which is melanin, which is symbolic to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because they was heavily melanated, into that, and transforming it into their characters in their comic books. And look at the X-Men series. Based over them 2 characters, they have made how many movies now?
Yeah.
The X-Men is one of the largest. Right. The X-Men, look how many cartoon series they done had on it.
Right, yeah.
Look how many comic books that they done sold. The X-Men is one of the largest selling comic book franchises. Is the X-Men, and so we're looking at how they use that power to take that same energy from the 60s and propel their comic book series even into the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2Gs.
That's some powerful energy.
And on and on.
Yeah.
Right. While the 2 characters that is based on it is gone and dead, or got assassinated.
But they keep the memory going in their mythology, and then we pay for it.
Bingo.
Okay. I'm trying to compile a lot of info like that to present it to people, because a lot of us don't realize how important we are out here. We just think we niggas, slave, whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like I got another one, if I got time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. South Park. I grew up watching South Park all the time. I love that show, right? Kenny on South Park, he died every episode. Oh my God, I don't know how familiar y'all are with the show, but it's a guy named, boy on there named Kenny. Okay, he died every episode. So I did the Gematria on it. It equals 67, and 67 is 13, and 13 is, represent us in a number of different ways. So and then 13 I did I did the statement that they always make, the oh my God, you killed Kenny, they killed Kenny, and it equaled 450, I believe it was, because it's different ways you can do the gematria, different ways of numerology, and some of them different numbers, but and it equaled reincarnation, and it just made perfect sense. You know what I mean? They do that. It's like a ritual every time they kill the black guy, and it's all right because he can't die anyway. He come back anyway. He's there forever. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the running joke on the show.
Right. That is the joke. Exactly.
Yeah. I figure it's kind of like I think it's kind of like a ritual because it's just so accepted, you know. And if they programming our subconscious with this number of ways of doing it, then it's like I was watching one episode and one of the other ones was like, "Oh, Kenny die all the time," you know what I mean? And it's like it's accepted that niggas were gangbangers and whatever and what have you, so they kill each other all the time. So it's nothing, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the thing is,
on that, man. Not to come that hard. Like,
right. Well, we know that the Jews run Hollywood. I mean, Mel Gibson done said that enough. They almost ostracized him and excommunicated him from Hollywood. We know that Marlon Brando said the Jews ran Hollywood. You know, so these are so-called Albions, spilling the beans on other, Albions or fixed mulatto race or whatever you want to refer to them as. So that's what we're looking at. So if you use the Kabbalistic encyclopedia or dictionary or whatever the case is and look up the numerals or Gematria, you can figure out the codes because they go to it too. That's what they use. They use the Zohar, they use the Kabbalah, they use the Talmud. They use all these different books. But like we said, A.E. Wakes stated in his Holy Kabbalah, I think it was around page 20 or so, he stated that the Moors are the founders and the originators of the Kabbalistic teachings, and that these teachings was left in Granada, Spain, and different other portions of Cordova, Spain. And when the Moors left, that these libraries was raided by the Albion, the European, and then they was able to convert into so-called Judaism and then take our information with them. But these are converts. These are Russian converts. They was called Ashkenazim. They are referred to also, which is actually in the Old Testament, Gentiles. The Ashkenazim, if you go to Genesis, the 5th chapter, 10th chapter is one of them chapters. It states specifically Ashkenaz was a Gentile. So they actually are Ashkenazim. And so they came into it as converts. It was Russian converts with some Mongolian gene or strand, and there's no coincidence that this is who we dealing with, nowadays. They're not Sephardic. They're not from the the so-called darker races. Who the so-called original, Hebrews or Israelites, such as the Philistines, such as the Yamba or the Yimba. They're not related to none of them. There's a recent report that stated that the so-called Jews are not Jews. They are actually just Russian converts. So we know what's really going. We know what's really going on. It's based on Zionism and them simply trying to be the spy unit in the Middle East for the United States.
They had a book on that, the 13 Tribes by Koffler. Last name is you probably know the name, Alim. Yeah.
Right, Arthur Kessinger. Right.
Yes, that's his name. Yeah.
Right. It's called the 13th tribe, and he says it is right that they're Russian converts, that they're Ashkenazim, and that this is who they are. That they're not of the original Hebrew or Israelite, lineage. Well, I mean, even the Bible says that in Revelation 2nd chapter, the 9th verse, Revelation the 3rd chapter, the 9th verse. There are those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan.
Yeah.
So when you go and do your research, you find that the Jews are behind over 300,000 disappearances and missing persons every year. Rabbi Finkelstein stated on one of the on one of the radio shows years ago that the Jews kidnapped these children, over 300,000 of them annually, drain them of their blood for their Passover rituals, and then take their bodies and flesh, and then put it in their they put it in their grinders, and then they sell the meat to McDonald's and different other
damn.
Yeah.
Wow, man,
So
this is some wild shit.
Right. So when we talk about the synagogue of Satan, that's what we talking about. And there was just recent black market organ transporting that they just busted in Chicago and Detroit. So shit, when you go to damn Detroit and you see damn blocks and blocks and blocks of missing people or people no longer in the damn houses, what the hell happened?
Right.
Where they at? Where the hell are they at?
People think they moved to a different location,
Exactly.
You see a lot of you drive by and you see a you stop by a train and your train passes by. You really don't know what's inside those boxcars. We really don't.
Yeah.
You think it'd be something of some type of maybe cars or any other type of commodity. There'll be commodities in there, but what kind? You don't really know, because the boxcars are closed shut and tight. So you can't really, if there were people in them boxcars, they couldn't yell out no way. You wouldn't be able to hear them.
I heard they had a train that had handcuffs on it or something like that.
Yeah. This is what they had, practice they had in Germany during the Holocaust. This was a sacrificial ritual anyway, but what Holocaust means. But they had closed the boxcars when a lot of these so-called Jews, they boxed them in. When they closed the doors, you can't hear it. You couldn't hear them hollering no more. You couldn't hear anything. Everything was silent.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's deep stuff, man.
No doubt. I appreciate you asking those questions. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got area code 646, area code 646. You're on the line.
Seafood.
Hey.
Peace.
Brother.
Elder, can you break down that new movie, The Kingsman? I saw it the other day at with Samuel Jackson. He was the villain, and I don't know. I think he represented Gaddafi. Gaddafi was going to do a satellite, build a satellite for Africa, the continent over there, for everybody on that side to be free from Europe, England satellites.
Right, and what's the name of it?
The Kingsman.
I'm
that new
check
movie
that
about
out.
the Kingsman. You gotta break that down. That's some awesome shit there. Excuse my expression, elders. But you got to do a show on that.
All right. Well, shoot. If I watch it this week, we can do it next Wednesday. I'm gonna definitely check it out.
All right.
That shit is insane.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna check it out. And I know
Thank you for everything. Thank you for all. Yo, Brother L, you awesome, man. You full of treasures.
Oh, thank
when
you.
Dr.
Thank you.
Alim ain't there, man,
Most
you really,
more.
you really throw down and keep the vessel flowing with that knowledge, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Brother L. Thank you for your host. Thank you for the host, man, and all the people you shared the information, Sultan. I really grow with this information. It really helps me a whole lot. Keep afloat and keep on my destiny. Thank you for you and your queen and for all the great work you're doing, man. I appreciate you. Peace.
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 Peace. All right, we got 9 more minutes before we close out. All right. There was a question in the chat room. They was asking about yeast infections and what obviously can be done about that. Of course, large amounts of garlic, probably about 6 cloves of garlic will have to be eaten on a daily basis, as well as also garlic can be put within capsules. There's also a health product which that you can get from vitamin shop called Candex, in which that can be utilized for candida, which is yeast, as well as also hyssop, which is a herb that can be utilized, as well as also black walnuts, cloves, wormwood, as well as also golden seal. Even though you might be a vegan or vegetarian, sometimes you might have to break that pattern. And of course, one of the things in which that helps with yeast infection, if there is possibly an individual who is a vegan or vegetarian or just a meat eater who have those issues, yogurt can actually be inserted for the women inside of the vaginal canal. So there's a lot of things that can actually be done, So just check those things out, Hold on, Brother L. We got another call here.
Okay.
All right. This is a call. This is area code 111. This is someone who is either using a Google phone or either they out of the country. Please. Peace. Area code 111. Area code 111.
Hi, Scout.
All right.
Better.
Peace.
Yeah, I can hear you. Come on.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Do you all hear in there?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
Hey.
What up, Paula?
All right. I don't know what's going on.
I don't. Yeah.
Let me see. Area code 614. Greetings. Peace.
It's me again. When you do the macrocosmic orbit, how do you verify if you're open, you're no blockages?
You'll actually feel the energy traveling up and down the channels, up the spine or down the spine, up the front, down the front. You'll feel the changes as a male or female. You'll feel remember, energy follows thoughts. So wherever you think that energy is, that's where it is. All right, especially within your own body, because you control your body. So if you can feel the energy traveling in the direction that it's supposed to, then you know that those areas are being activated and open. Okay. And once you know that you have it all the way open, is because you will feel it throughout the whole time of visualization. You will feel it throughout your whole channels. All right, that's how you know all the blockages have been removed, and now you're back on the road to health.
Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace. Anybody else on the phone line?
Right. Yeah, we got area code 410. Area code 410. You on the line?
Yeah, I'm back to the future, brothers. I had another question. It's about remote viewing, or I guess what we call remote viewing nowadays. But, Brother Alim, it's like a prevalent thing for the El-Beyons to have these conferences about UFOs and remote viewing, and I'm wondering, do you think when they doing these remote viewing sessions to Atlantis and Lemuria, I know the energetics and perspective play a role, but what people are they seeing back then? I mean, I know that's a hard one to answer, but who are they seeing?
If they seeing that they seeing Albion, then they're lying. That's what we do know. If you get the book by James Churchward, who's the brother of Albert Churchward, he wrote the book called The Children of Mu, which is talking about the Lemurians and some aspects of the Atlanteans, and he refers to the Pygmies or the Twa people as the original inhabitants of those areas. So hence, i.e., black people, for lack of a better term, unless you just want to say Moors.
Right, Lemuria, right. Yeah, because brother Phil Valentine, he remember he busted ass on when they had the Caucasoids trying to say that outer space looked like these Orphan Annie type people coming down to save us. I'm like, man, we can't get away from y'all.
Right.
No, let me explain that too. Also, in the chat room, we got brother I Am the Universe, or I Am the Universe. Spoke about Men Who Stares at Goats, which was a movie, in which that came out several years ago, about maybe 7 years ago, when it came out, and it was breaking down a black ops program that was done at Fort Bragg here in North Carolina. All right, Fort Bragg is right there between Spring Lake and Fayetteville area, and what they did, they was using remote viewing as well as also psychic enhancements, and they was doing that through different torturing techniques and different pushing beyond the limit, strenuous type of techniques, all types of things they was doing, mental works and all types of things they was doing. But there's a big component of the individual by the name of Ed Daines, who always was on Coast to Coast back in the days, and like he was the father of remote viewing. And there's many who supposedly trained from Ed Daines, but like Phil used to say back in the day, shit, we was able to damn do remote viewing. The only thing we had to do was damn get on the damn dance floor. In our minds, go off somewhere and shoot. We right there at it. So
True.
It's something which that we can do naturally. We don't have to do all the strenuous techniques in which that they was doing in the movie or whatever the case is. We can actually do it, just simply relaxing. A good breath technique to get your mind going is the 4-7-8 technique. You'll breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for 7, breathe out for 8. That activates the vagus nerve, which is one of the 12 pair cranial nerves that sits around the pineal gland, in which that activates the psychic centers in the brain. The relaxation breath technique 4-7-8 is one of the best techniques to do that, to get into a mode for remote viewing. All right, and now as far as the extraterrestrial thing, they coming from Lyra, they coming from the Pleiades, or whatever the case is, all that is bullshit. They can't even get off the planet. It was made in test tubes, by a person by the name of Yaku Kerr, who was part of the Hyksos dynasty back during the 15th dynasty, less than 6,000 years ago. There's an article that came out recently in which that state that the European, or Albion as he is now, before the way after the albino state of the Nubians, took place, that he was a journey come later, and he just came about less than 6,000 years ago. This is actually in the article, which I can pull up, and I'll probably end up going over in depth with. there's a book called what's the name of the book? The name of the book is by Walter Scott. Yeah, well, Iceman and Heritage by Michael Bradley. He speaks about it, that they didn't develop until after the Ice Age, which correlates with The Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. Also correlates to Walter Scott's book, Hermetico, where the Egyptians in there say that the worst thing that we've ever done was create man in our image and after our likeness, which correlates perfectly to the Old Testament in the book of Genesis. So, I mean, there's so many damn books. There's a Message to the White Man and White Woman by Dorothy Blake. She's breaking down in there about the white man and white woman just coming about 6,000 years ago. I mean, I can go on with the books that verifies this. There's a new article out that the Blue Eyes just came about, less than 6,000 years ago, correlating to the time of the Albion turning permanently pale, coming about less than 6,000 years ago. So they all both came about around the exact same time period. So these things are miraculous, or seemingly miraculous, but nature has actually already stated for a fact, that they only been on the planet a very short time. And then, based on Elijah Muhammad's teachings, they was in a cave for 2,000 of those 6,000 years before we civilized them. They was walking around on all fours. They was eating the flesh of each other. They was committing incest, all types of things. They couldn't bury their dead, So, I mean, this is the heritage, the lineage in which they have up there in the Caucasus Mountains. And they know this.
Yeah, because I guess the live blog talk feed over with, but one of my homeboys, I mean not homeboys, but he cool, European. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gotta hate him or nothing, but just having a conversation with him, and I think sometimes if you ever hang around the Albion, and you can hear little side comments sometimes about the innate jealousy or the self-hatred or whatever you want to call it, because like he'll say something like well, of course he can do it, he's black, something like that, or if you talk about entertainment or sports or whatever, and it's looking at the seeing the dudes work out in the gym, you're like, man, how come my body can't get swole like that in less time, not spending a lifetime in the gym, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they know.
Yeah.
Right. As I Am, the universe says, the natural was made supernatural, the normal was made paranormal. So everything which that we did to us was, that was natural and normal. For them to do the same thing, you had to be supernatural and paranormal to do it. So there's no doubt about that. Right.
Hence. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was all, brother.
All right. We appreciate you, Doc.
Appreciate you,
Doc.
All right. Peace, God.
Any closing peace. Any closing remarks, Brother L?
Yes. We're going to speak on the yeast infection thing, dealing with women. I was going to ask you. Someone spoke to me about the type of the trial pants that women wear, like real tight jeans or real like the leggings. Do you think that that's a part of the cause of the yeast infections?
Yeah, that can promote. Yeah, anything real tight along the crotch line can promote chafing or yeast infection. So yes, definitely. And that's within male or female. Yeah, that's male or female.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking. Over wear them over a lot. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was pretty good. We put it in tonight. All right. As always, and looking forward to putting it again Wednesday.
All right.
Next Wednesday.
Sound good.
Sound like we did a lot of good tonight.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Brother L.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey.